one of my best friends in life called me today and informed me that his grandma died. And to be honest with you guys, she's the closest thing I've ever had to a grandma. So when I woke up this morning, I saw the missed call. And you know when you look at a missed call and you look at what time it came in and you know it's not good. Because you know what time people usually call me. He calls me at 8:39. But for him to call me at 6:15, I knew it was her. And I remember I did a bunch of... I knew she was dead. They put her in an old folks home about 3 months ago. And they... she's 90-something, and she was kind of crazy and shit, and that's what I loved about her. But, my condolences to his family, and I felt like shit all day because, I love you guys, but I shouldn't be here doing a podcast with you. I should be in New York with George at his house. And it's funny because somebody gave me a bottle of that ass water, that fucking, what's that champagne that all these fucking Gentiles, Dom Perignon fucking dick. Have you ever drank that shit?
No, I'm not really a big champagne person.
It tastes like dick. I like cheap champagne with the apple juice in it, whatever the fuck. This is the worst cider thing in the world. But they took me in. I knew George since my sophomore I knew George before my mother died. And he was from Cliffside Park, and I was from North Bergen, and we kept in touch on the phone. And then he started dating a girl I knew in North Bergen. He would give her a little stabbing from time to time. And I would communicate to him through her. And then I lost contact with him for like a year or two, and then we reconnected in 84. I got arrested in Bergen County. He bailed me out, and he told me I could stay with his parents, his mom and his grandma. They lived on Inwood Terrace, where Jim Norton and Jimmy Florentine used to live. And I stayed with them for 6 months the first time, and it slowed me down a little bit. They never made me feel bad about living there. I always worked. I always fixed my bed in the morning. I gave them money. I gave grandma money for bingo. That was my deal, to give her $40 for bingo once a week plus rent. She'd cook for me. It was a great relationship. They took care of me like one of their own.
There's something special about grandmas.
No, she was always tight, and just her sense of humor. She hated fucking Cuba. She said Cuba was a fucking death trap, that was a sin. The reason why the country was a piece of shit now, because they had a good time there for a long time, but that was the borderline for the slaves. So they put a fucking voodoo on the country.
Did that offend you at all?
No, I don't give a fuck when people talk. She's my grandma. What do I give a fuck, And then I left in 85. I always kept in touch with him. As a matter of fact, George came out to Colorado in 87, lived with me till I got arrested for the kidnapping. He stayed with me for a little while, came out for the court case for me to get sentenced. 91, when I got divorced and I was down and out, I went back and stayed with him. He was junked up. And grandma, as bad as I was feeling in those days, that was the first time I was away from my daughter, and that was the first time I had been away from Boulder. And I'll tell you, being in North Bergen was great, and doing comedy for the first couple, that was my second year of comedy when I moved back with George in Jersey. I drove a limo. And I went back to New York, and I did comedy. I would go to do comedy at night for fucking 3 minutes just to get abused. I mean, I was just getting abused, guys. So right now, if you're fucking getting abused, you're doing comedy, or you're starting law school, or you're doing anything, and you just started and you feel like you're getting abused, think of me when you're getting abused. It was an abusing. Guys, it was abuse. That's why whenever I see comics and they're young, I try to give them a hug or sympathize because I know what the fuck they're going through. But with all that going on and the abuse from my ex-wife and not talking to my child and all this shit, grandma was who kept me together.
And I'm not saying it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't probably anything too big, right? It was like maybe a sandwich.
Little things. She talked to me at night. I had one shirt. I was snorting so much coke in those days. I had one fucking white collared shirt. So I would take it off, wash it every night, and she would iron it for me, and I'd wear it the next morning. That fucking shirt was gray. You couldn't bleach it anymore. It was so fucking old.
Did you have to ask her to iron it? Or I'm sure she just did it. Yeah.
She just did it. And I just give her money for bingo and stuff, But before all that happened, like April of 85, I was living with them. And I was working for this fucking dude. Like I had no jobs. I had nothing going on. And I was just picking up day labor. Is that what you call it? Day labor?
Yeah.
So I was working for this guy. His name was John. He was a real fucking prick. He abused me too. This was 84. This was before comedy. I'm taking you back like 8 years. This guy was a fucking scumbag. So he would tell me to meet him at 7 at the diner.
Okay.
I would go up there, I would eat, and then he wouldn't pay for breakfast. And then he would sit there till 8:39, and then he would only pay me from 9 o'clock on. He wouldn't pay me for windshield time. You know, if we clocked out at 3, he would pay me to 3, even if it took 2 hours to get home. The guy was just a scumbag. And I needed the fucking work. Like, I needed the fucking work. And it wasn't bad. It was 4 days a week. I helped him carry wood,
But
sweat.
something small, like the way people
Little
treat you
things.
makes
Little
a huge
things.
difference.
He would not give me a check. He would say he forgot it on Friday. I was tapped out. I had to pay rent. You know, I had to pay grandma money for fucking bingo. And this fucking guy would tell me he had no check on him and shit. He was a real piece of shit. So I knew where he lived. And one Friday, one Thursday night, this fucking douchebag tells me he's going away for the weekend. And that was the weekend he ran away without paying me. So I went to, listen, he gave you T-shirts to wear on his jobs. If you didn't wear the T-shirts, he'd fine you $10. If your T-shirt wasn't washed, like just dumb shit. He was just a scumbag. So I said, fuck this motherfucker.
How long did it take you to make that decision to rob him? Like, he tells you he's going to be gone for the
I didn't say I
weekend.
robbed him, Z, but you knew me. You know me. You know me.
I apologize.
That's why I love you. That's why I love you.
But I just imagine, like, you saying, like, he's going to be gone for the weekend.
No. When I went to meet him that morning, he said, I'll meet you Thursday morning at the fucking diner. So I had to get like a cab to drive me to this fucking diner, and then he's not there.
Oh.
I eat breakfast with my last 20. Now I gotta walk halfway fucking home because I don't have all the money and then call a cab. I gotta walk like 6 miles and call a cab.
Oh, no.
So now I'm fucking furious. I got no dough, no prospects. I go, you know what I'm doing tomorrow morning? I'm getting up and I'm going over to his fucking house. And I went over to his fucking house. Now, I had never drank Dom Perignon. I knew about Dom Perignon because one time my buddies robbed a truck. Like, they had like a fucking...
Delivery truck?
I don't know what they robbed. They robbed something, and they gave me like 3 bottles, and I gave them away. I didn't know. I sold 2 of them to a liquor store. The ones they give you in a box, right? They're in a box.
Yeah, I think so.
So, yeah, it was in a box.
How do you sell it to a liquor store?
Listen, I got 2 of these. What do you sell them for? $129? I'll give it to you for $60. I got 2 of them here. Give me $130 for the whole. Well, you just said $60. I'm sorry. Give me $65. And bro, people buy anything. You walk into any liquor store with a case that's closed, and they open it in front of you, and you tell them, I'll give you a wholesale on this. I'll give you 50% off. Watch them get the cash out of the back. Because that's what people do. That's a case of booze they sell that they buy the bottle less than wholesale. They buy it for half price.
You have to find someone where the owner is running the cash register.
It's 2017. They're all fucking kinky fucks. You have to assume that going in. That's how when you deliver the speech to them, you have to assume like they're on the other side. They know what fucking time is going in.
Okay, so you have the Dom Perignon.
So I go to the guy's house.
Right.
I can't get in there. I got to be creative, so I just bust through a fucking window like a superhero. I go in, I climb in there. I got all the time in the world. He even took the dog with him, that dumb fuck.
Oh.
I got all the time in the world, and I just went through his fucking house. I think I made eggs. You know, when I would burglarize you and I knew you weren't coming back, I'd always make some type of sandwich.
I always hear that on the news.
Pee in your toilet, something. Now you can't do that because they'll get your DNA from the pee. So fucking, I found like a couple yardsticks, couple $100. I found a little weed, and he had like those anniversary things when people give you for your anniversary or something. He had like a bunch of bottles of Dom Perignon. I thought that would bother him more than the cash. I took every bottle of Dom that motherfucker had. He had like 13 bottles of Big Dom in a box. I took them to one guy I knew. I dumped every fucking bottle. I kept one for me, just to see what all the bullshit was about. And me, Grandma, and George drank that carafe. It wasn't even a regular bottle. It was a carafe wrap.
Oh, my God.
So they're even more expensive. They're like $2-something.
Back then.
Back then, they were even more expensive. They were like the $200 bottle. So me, George, and Grandma got in that living room, and we drank the whole motherfucking bottle of Dom Perignon.
Could Grandma outdrink you guys?
Nah, she was having a great time. We put on music. Just me, her, and Grandma. We danced. And then about 10 o'clock, this is all unplanned. I took the money I robbed, and I took George, Grandma, and me to Piccolissimo for lobster fucking Fra Diablo. And it was just magnetic. Listen, she would still bring that night up in 1993. Now she wouldn't bring it up because she didn't remember it. But she always told me that was one of the best nights I ever had. She got home from bingo, we got her tipsy as shit, and then we took her for lobster at the fucking Piccolissimo in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Are you kidding me? So that's all I kept thinking about today. That memory, that night, I saw it vividly about us dancing in the living room and us giggling. And I would go outside and smoke pot, and I would come in and she'd go, look at you, eek, eek, because that's what she would call marijuana.
Eek, eek.
She'd always go, you outside, eek, eek.
So, like, how did you explain to her about the champagne and the dinner?
A friend gave it to me. And I worked for the money. She didn't have to explain nothing.